Hello dear my summer cars! Today a new video and a new stage in the assembly of Satsuma. We will install the wiring. Get ready, it won't be difficult.
Voi satana!
Before the beginning of the works, I prepared a little and ordered antennas and all of the additional electrical equipment from the catalog. Watch the video to the end and we'll install them all. If you don't know how to order items from the catalog, I advise you to check the very first video in our car building playlist. There I clearly explained the entire process. If you have watched the guide from the beginning, you know that the first step was to charge the old battery. If the arrow in the charger points to the right, the battery is dead and can be thrown away. If the arrow is to the left of the middle, the battery is well charged. Let's start installing wiring, and first of all we will deal with the rear of the car. To connect one point to another with a wire, take a wiring mesh in your hands. When you see a text with a check mark, press F. Then go to another point and press F again. First, let's connect the fuel tank to the rear harness connector. The connector on the fuel tank is hidden from view, so you have to find it. After that, the fuel gauge will start working when you connect the dashboard later. Install left and right tail lights. From this rear harness connector, connect two wires to the left and to the right rear lights. Let's continue with the wiring of the headlights. To do this, the headlights themselves must be removed. Find the headlight connector and install two wires to the left and right headlights. When you were in the shop, you had to buy two light bulbs, unbox bulbs and install them inside. Then put headlights back to their place and tighten them with 2 bolts by 7. Install the wire from the headlights connector to the main harness connector. Now from the main harness connector to the regulator. Connect the regulator to the alternator. If you forget to run this wire, the battery will not charge. Next, connect the main harness connector to the ignition coil. Run the wire from the main harness connector to the radiator fan connector. I really advise you to save the game now, as we are going to install the battery. Let me remind you again that if you leave a car with a battery without a hood overnight, the battery is very likely to be stolen. Always close the hood. Put the battery in place and take the wiring in your hands again. Run the wire from the main harness connector to the positive terminal on the battery. You will immediately see the terminal on the battery. Run a wire from the positive terminal of the battery to the starter. After that, take the wrench and tighten the nut by 5 on the starter. Now take a wrench by 7 and unscrew the nearest bolt on the starter. Connect the negative terminal to the starter, then screw the bolt back. Pay your attention, do not tighten the bolts on the battery now, this is not the end. Now go inside and run the wire from the ignition switch to the fuse box. Connect the radio harness to the radio itself, even though it is not there yet. Now it is the time to place the dashboard. Take the wrench by 10 and tighten 2 bolts. One of them is hidden inside the glove box. Let's continue with the dashboard meters. Inside it you can install either a clock from the shelf or a tachometer, which we will find when we convert the stock version of Satsuma to a GT one. Install the clock gauge and tighten 2 bolts by 7. Then fasten the entire dashboard with 2 bolts by 6. Now let's learn some proctology, as we will lay the wires blind. Connect the fuse box to the instrument panel 1. The speedometer and other meters will start working. Run a wire from the fuse box to the instrument panel 2. Install the wire from the dash harness connector to the light switch. Let's install a radio set. You don't need to tighten it. However, in order for the radio to play without noises, you need to order antennas from the catalog. Both are placed on the trunk and tightened with a bolt by 8. We have done with the basic electrics. Now, if you want more, let's talk about additional electric equipment. Remember, the battery must still be disconnected. Let's start with an installation of the gauge set that shows your battery condition, oil and water pressure. Run a wire from extra gauges to the dash harness connector. The next is the fuel mixture gauge. Connect it to the dash harness connector. It will help you to adjust your carburetor precisely. Next, you can put fog lights on. Connect each marker light to the headlight connector. Tighten each with one bolt by 6. The radar detector is located next to the repair shop behind the rusty truck. In order for it to work, you have to tighten it with a screwdriver. When approaching the police post, it makes a squeaking sound. In case police noticed it on the dashboard, you will be fined, so remove it before passing the checkpoint. In the future, you may want to change your car radio to a new, luxurious one. To do this, lean inside the dashboard and find the pixel responsible for detaching the radio and press the right mouse button. The radio will definitely stuck inside, so just pull it out and install the new one in a known manner. If you love deep sound as much as my downstairs neighbors, put the amplifier and 2 subwoofers. Tighten the amplifier with 2 bolts by 5, then run 2 wires. The first one is from the radio to the amplifier. The second one is from the radio harness to the amplifier power. To put the speakers, you need to place this podium behind the back seat. It can be spray painted in any color. Put subwoofers in it. For some strange reason, we install the right speaker to the left and the left one to the right. Then run 2 wires to the speakers from the amplifier. You may also want to install a racing tachometer. It doesn't need wiring, but it must be secured with a bolt by 5. To adjust it, you need to maintain the revs and turn the adjustment knob with the mouse scroller. It will tell you when to upshift in races, and at the same time it will block half of the dashboard. And now the solemn moment comes when we connect the battery. Take the range by 8 and tighten first positive terminal and only then the negative one. If you confuse the order, at best Satsuma will light up, at worst you will be electrocuted. If you did everything correctly, the ignition and all onboard electrics will work after you turn the key. Do not start Satsuma without oil or other fluids, including fuel. Attention, fuel! I will remind you again about it in the next video, in which we will tune our engine to the most powerful setting. Make sure you've liked this video and subscribe to the channel, but only if you've enjoyed this guide. We'll meet in the next video. Stay well.
Tehovaimennin, amistoutakoy, ojo edestä ja takaa.